Okay, we'll continue to let our attendees in as the night goes on, but I definitely want to respect everyone's time because even as we were prepping for today, I think all of us have said at some point that it's been a day. So if it's been a day for you too, we want to make sure that we respect your time. We're glad that you gave us some of your time tonight. For those that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Danielle Parson. I am the senior. Oh, that is hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
Definitely about to give you my full-time Propel title. I am the Executive Director of Professional Women's Network, PWN. We formed in 2016 as an initiative to better connect, engage, and inspire. We come a very long way. Oops, please mute your phones when you come in. Devices, please. No problem. See, the new norm. Just gotta wait. You come back together. So we formed in 2016 as a great space to connect, engage, and inspire. We launched in 2016 with our largest event being our luncheon, was our first event that we introduced that this year we had virtually, and we were able to attract so many people from across the country, our largest attendee list ever. We had over 200 women and attendees from all different cities and states. And then from that luncheon, we've grown to so much more, our executive roundtables, our power hour sessions. And the reason is because women like the ones that are on the call tonight, you guys saw a need for more. So we always work to give more. The power hours actually came from what we're all experiencing now with our COVID-19 experience. And we were dedicated to not letting COVID interrupt our connection or stop our connection. So when we first started this, we absolutely said it stopped us, it interrupted us from being together, but we found another way to still be together and to have that purpose and meaning together. So the power hour, tonight's power hour is turning pain into purpose. And we are so excited to have Rebekah and Briana with us tonight. They are the authors of Millennial Transformation. I'm going to give you just a little bit of a tip, some snippet about them, and then they will dive in and share more. Briana is a wife, daughter, sister, friend, and we can all relate with that on so many levels. She grew up as a military brat, so she has plenty of experience and has met and been around different people and cultures. She actually has a little bit of a Pittsburgh branch that she can share. Everyone's connected to Pittsburgh, right? At some point. It's just weird, like you watch even the movies and someone's like, hey, I'm from Pittsburgh. And it's like, why did they even have to add that line in there? So random, but everyone's connected to Pittsburgh some way. She's dedicated to empowering women and empowering people and be a positive change maker. So she fits right into PWN's mission and our focus. So we're excited to have her. And then Rebekah, her counterpart, is with us as well. Rebekah, I actually can give a little personal note about. I met Rebekah when she lived here in Pittsburgh, another Pittsburgh tie and root through the Urban League Young Professional. And just one little story that I want to share about her is that I invited her to a work event where someone being me, ordered too much food for the participants that were there, and we were going to trash it. And Rebekah said, absolutely not. And she took the food and she went through the streets and gave it to the homeless. And that was like one of my first real encounters with her, and just helped in me understanding her spirit and knowing that I wanted to make sure I stayed connected. So that's another reason why I'm excited to have her here today. She's now in Detroit, but that's okay. We won't hold it against her. She's working with Ford Motor Companies. She's always been an ambitious young professional, and she's navigated the corporate world with grace and grit. We're excited to have both of these ladies here tonight. So I'm going to just turn it over to you all, and we can go ahead and get started.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and share. All right, well, good evening, everybody. We are so excited to be here. I'm going to have Rebekah just kind of kick us off, and we're going to be sharing about turning your pain into purpose.
Hello, greetings and salutations. Happy International Women's History Month. Can we give it up March is a special time, dedicated to really highlighting and honoring women who have made significant contributions in history and on society. And so it's wonderful to be with all of you change makers tonight. Danielle, I do not remember that anecdote, but I remember I used to do stuff like that all the time. So it doesn't surprise me at all. So thanks for bringing that up. And again, thank you so much, you and the board, for this invitation. I know I can speak for both Briana and myself. We are just elated to be in the presence of greatness. Danielle gave a wonderful introduction, but again, my name is Rebekah Sharpe. I am a sister, a daughter, a friend, and most importantly, I love me some Jesus. And so I always share from the ministerial side. I was actually ordained as a minister in Pittsburgh at Petra International Ministries in 2018. And it was always on my heart to write a book. And so I feel really blessed that during the time of COVID and quarantine and stay-at-home orders, Briana and I came together and decided to finally launch our dreams and to really produce this book that has been a blessing to so many people. And we're excited to unpack kind of the back scenes and the inner workings a little more this evening as we discuss turning pain into purpose. Briana, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much, Danielle, for that introduction. And as she mentioned, my name is Briana Medley, and I am a wife, a dog mom. My formal title, I work at BNSF Logistics as the Organizational Change and Enterprise Learning and Development Manager. So in my day job, I am like a teacher for the adults and also helping with the change efforts to keep people top of mind whenever there are project initiatives. And so I am just so excited to be here and so excited to really just be sharing about our journey of writing a book and actually really telling the stories of other women that partner with us. So it is just an amazing compilation, and we're going to get more into exactly what the book is. But first, we're going to just start out kind of sharing a little bit more about our entire process. So I'll turn it over to, well, first we'll do an icebreaker. So before that, wanted to just see, who wants to share a story topic that you would like to share with the world? So it could be anything. Does anyone have any stories that they feel are deep on the inside of themselves that they've always wanted to share with others and just really haven't sat down to write it out yet? Does anyone have any of those topics? And you can throw them in the chat, or you can turn on your camera and say, hey, pets, kids, everybody's welcome. So just bring them on and say hello and let us know if you have a story topic that is on your heart. So I'll give you all just a couple moments to think about it. And then once you have it, turn on your mic and share. And while they're warming up, Rebekah, do you want to just share one of the stories maybe that you shared inside of the book and what it was like sharing your personal story for the compilation?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So I actually wrote about mental illness, and that is a very personal topic to me. I'm sorry, I'm receiving a call here, so I lost my Zoom. That's a very personal topic to me. My sister was actually diagnosed with manic depressive bipolar. And so I spoke about what that journey was like in walking with my sister and walking with loved ones and friends, because I realized it's very pervasive, right? And so walking through that journey of what it was like to be with her as she experienced the highs and the lows and the ebbs and the flows, it was a bit uncomfortable, but it really stretched me. And I realized that as I spoke more about it and did more research and just begin to understand it from a higher level, that it is prevalent, right? And that there are a lot of people who are experiencing loving their friends, family members, and maybe even themselves through mental illness. And so I recognize that there was power in that pain. And I feel really grateful now to be a vessel to have shared really how I got through that season and continue to get through that season of my life.
Yeah, I think that's so amazing. And one of the things inside of the book, it really just highlights some of those stories. And I too shared a couple of stories, but one of them is my husband and I, our debt-free journey. So we're on the road to becoming debt-free, and we have paid off over $80,000 worth of debt over the last couple of years. And it's a combination of student loan debt and cars and credit cards and different things, but we are on that journey, and just really how we had to come together as a couple, and then also through prayer and resources, really just getting a better handle on our finances. So for me, that was so important, because I want all people to really start to build a generational legacy as it relates to money, so that that's not a concern for other people. So I wanted to share what our story and what our journey had been, so that other people can say, wait, I think I can do that too. So that's something that's really important to me, and something that I'm very passionate about. So we'll see if we got anybody that wants to share anything. We'll give a couple more moments of pause before we'll move on. Does anybody have any?
And even if it's not a personal topic, maybe a topic that you would like to read about, that you don't see out there, people being vulnerable enough to share, that you think might be able to help others.
This is Jasmine. Something I was talking to a girlfriend of mine about recently. Both of us had our first child, as you can hear mine in the background, during a pandemic. It's been an interesting journey in that while we have friends who have had children, it's a completely different space when you're doing it in a pandemic among everything else going on. And so I've never had the desire to write a book, but it's something that's really prevalent in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a very good topic too, because so many people experience that and it's not what you expected. So even the grief process of that as well, I think it would be so powerful for so many people.
Yeah, and there's articles out there, but no one's written about it yet, because we're still in it, right?
Right.
So it's something that, I don't know, maybe over time people will look back and write about what that experience was like.
Thank you
I
for
think for
sharing.
Black women, it will be awesome to see something that has to do with motherhood, period. I think our experience is just different. I think we don't talk about the ebbs and flows that come with reproduction in general. So I think that's something that while we talk about this, I've never had the aspiration either, Jasmine, but maybe that's my project with Jasmine. That's our next venture. But that would be something that I would like to read more about, and just would like women after me to have more knowledge of after even my own experiences.
Yeah, that's so wonderful that you highlighted, both of you all highlighted pregnancy and motherhood and birthing, because actually in the book, and I've got it right here, there are, I think, 3 stories on those exact topics. And so we interviewed women who were courageous and audacious enough to share from some very vulnerable moments and different angles of what that process was like for them. So there are people who are feeling similarly to you all, wanting to fill that gap with more of their personal testimonies in that specific area.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and move right along. Thank you all so much for sharing.
All righty, so Toni Morrison, whose name is definitely written in the indelible pages of history of the great. She is a prolific author, one of my personal favorites. And this quote is just so powerful. If there is a book that you want to read, but it has not been written yet, you must be the one to write it. So really just underscoring what Danielle said and what Jasmine was kind of thinking about. You are the ones that are called to add to that space per Sister Toni. So thank you for those words. And I'll also talk about our agenda for the evening. So again, as we spoke earlier, we're really going to be going through what our process was like, while also just encouraging you all and enlightening you all on what we learned throughout the journey. So we're going to start off with owning your truth. And then after you've owned your truth and what that story is, really beginning to craft it and understand how to make your message memorable. And then, of course, we're all professional women here, so we're going to get into the steps of writing as a business. And lastly, which is likely my favorite thing, and which has been such a transformational component of my life, is we'll go through some words of affirmation to just make sure that our spirits are edified and exhorted for the days to come.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Rebekah, for that. So first, starting out, owning your truth. So this is all about showing the world how awesome and amazing you are. So all of us have stories that are unique to us. We may have similar experiences, but the way that we've experienced that same thing is completely different. So even if you may not think right now that you have a story to share, with some time, you may find that you do have something that you can share that can really make an impact on the world. So the first part to owning your truth is the healing piece. I believe all of the women that wrote inside of the book, they went through a process of healing, whether that was going to therapy or going to some type of counseling or going to some type of a program or getting whatever help that they needed to make sure that they were properly healed so that they could be effective when it came time to actually write. And for some people, it was journaling to get that healing. So whatever that may be, making sure that you heal from that area so that when you do begin to share, you're sharing from a place that's healed and not still hurting. Because everybody knows when you're in the middle of something, the way that things are coming out is completely different. And then the next piece is just realizing once you do get that healing, that there is purpose in the pain. So sometimes when we're in the thick of it, we're like, I don't understand why I'm going through this situation. I don't understand why me. But sometimes there is truly a purpose in that pain and in that situation. And a lot of times it's to be able to help other people that may go through something similar and be like, you know what, I've gone through it. Here are some of the tools. Here are some of the things that I learned. Here's some ways that I'm able to help you so that you can get through it even a little bit faster. And then one of the things that's really important is documenting the journey. So journaling is a great lifesaver. It's a great way to be able to reflect on where you've been and then where you're headed. So I know that's one of the things that whenever I'm thinking about a major life change or a career change or whatever it may be, just really writing down how I feel in that moment so that when I go back and look at my journal, I'm like, oh, wow, like I really overcame that situation. And this is what it looks like on the other side of it. So documenting the journey, it may not be a book today. Maybe it's just you writing down your thoughts. And then one day you're going to wake up and be like, oh, I have a whole book in this journal. So document some of the ways that you're feeling in this season. And especially now, I think we're all in such a unique situation. We have never experienced a pandemic before. And so just even documenting how you feel in this moment. I'm stressed. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I am over it, whatever that may be. And sometimes it may just feel like it's just a lot, but documenting those things, eventually it could turn into something that could be a book. And I'll turn it over to Rebekah just to talk a little bit more about owning your truth as well.
Yeah, well, I think I would just highlight the purpose and the pain. And it's, again, interesting that both of you ladies, Jasmine and Danielle, mentioned motherhood. And so I said that there were 3 different women who shared about motherhood. And one shared, the story is entitled My Miracle Baby. And her baby wasn't supposed to make it. She was born 6 months premature, or born at 6 months. So 3 months premature. And it was a miracle that she survived. Another woman shared about, she was a teen mom and got pregnant when she was 17 years old and was kind of cast out from her family and her friends, but God really turned her situation around. And now she, has a thriving family, a thriving business, and is even birthing an organization helping mothers just thrive through their parenting experience, birthing experience, really. And then lastly, there was a woman who was vulnerable enough to open up and share that she contemplated abortion. She had a partner that was not very supportive of her pregnancy, and she really had to make the bold decision to keep her son. And now her son has become the largest blessing in her life. And she too has started a business, wrote a book inspired by her child, and is really empowering and encouraging other mothers. And so just those 3 stories right there really underscore these moments in our lives are like crucible-like circumstances, but how we go through the healing and we begin to see the purpose. And as we document the journey, and I'll go into the next slide, crafting your message. Yeah, crafting your story, making memorable messages. So what we did with these women is we gave them a framework and we said, okay, what is your topic? What is your theme? What is your noble story? What's something that you've gone through that was really hurtful and that was really painful? And then identify lessons from your story, things that you can now really pull out that you believe others can glean from. And we had them utilize supporting scriptures or quotes or anecdotes or even scientific journals and, doing even more research to help support that topic. So like I mentioned, I talked about mental illness and what it was like for me to go through that experience with my sister. And I learned as I was doing research to really help complete this story and make it memorable that according to the National Alliance of Mental Illness, there's 48.3 million people a year that get diagnosed with some sort of mental illness. And with COVID, that number probably has skyrocketed, right? As we've all seen, known, and experienced. And so from that research, and then even doing more study of the Bible and, reading other thought leaders' quotes around mental illness, that really helped to bring depth and breadth to the story. And we saw all of the women go through a similar process. And by the time they were finished with this framework that we provided them, I mean, I know Briana, I'll allow her to speak for herself, but for the women that I personally spoke to, they talked about how liberating this was and how freeing it was and how just like encouraged they were reading their own stories and reading about how faithful God had been and how they got through some of the darkest moments in their lives and the tools that they gathered along that journey. And then once we began to sell the book and it started impacting people and people were talking about different stories that really resonated with them, that it was such a full circle moment and so encouraging for these women who did get very vulnerable and open up their hearts to share, to see just how much purpose and impact there was in the pain.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of people just really love that template of like, okay, what are some of the lessons that I took away from this painful period of my life? And sometimes we don't really reflect because we're just going and life is just constantly coming at us. And we're like, I don't even have time to think about this situation. That was crazy. I'm in another crazy situation. But really taking the time to just like think through it and like pull out whatever those lessons were. So if it's a quote or a scripture or whatever it may be, like, I think that was the part that was so healing because we oftentimes don't slow down enough to take an account of, oh, wow, this really did happen to me. And this is how I learned from it.
Yeah, and if anyone is interested in that template, we'd be more than happy to send it over to Danielle and she can send it out, even if it doesn't turn into a book. But just like Briana said, for you to spend some time reflecting on the things that you have gone through and finding healing in the processing of those painful moments. So we'd be more than happy to share that with you all.
Okay. So the next piece is the steps that we took to writing as a business. And so sometimes, you create something and you're able to sell it and share it with the world. So the first part of that is you have to be able to protect yourself. So just setting up an LLC. So coming up with whatever your business name is, and then going to the State Department to get your business web or registered. So you can go there and get everything set up for the LLC. It's a very seamless process. I was actually surprised that how quickly we became an LLC. So that is one of the steps in that process. The next piece is creating your team. So we are celebrating Women's History Month, and our team is all women. And so I am so grateful for all of the women that have really helped us to get to this point. So we hired a coach to be able to help us to actually birth our book. So she really just kind of walked us through all the steps. Like, did you do this? Did you think about this? Like all the different things that we were like, no, we didn't think about that. No, we're stuck. What do we do now? Like, what's the next step? So she really just kind of helped us to get unstuck and actually get the book done. And then we hired an editor. And so our editor was another woman, and she put everything together, edited the book. She also formatted it for all the different ways that we would sell the book. So our Kindle, our physical copy of the book, all the different ways. She helped to edit that. We hired a cover designer, so someone to be able to bring the cover to life so that people will actually want to pick it up and read it. So she did an amazing job. A woman from Nigeria, she put that together for us. So we hired a cover designer. And then we hired a photographer. So we hired Lindsay from Pittsburgh. She did all of our pictures and they looked amazing. And we absolutely love them. We use them for everything else too. I put it up at work and people are like, oh my goodness, you look amazing. And Lindsay did that. So like another woman. And so our entire team, we were really intentional about that, just to make sure that we were able to support other women in their businesses as we were birthing ours. So that was something that was so important for us. And even now, like we're about to do our taxes and most likely that's going to be another woman as well. So just really making sure to be intentional about that. And remembering that you can't do things alone. So we weren't meant to do life alone, and it's okay to not do everything yourself. So you can outsource things. And then the next piece is getting it published. So there's a couple of different steps here. So you have to get your ISBN number. So that's a really simple process. You fill it out there, and then also register your book with the Library of Congress, and then get the information for your copyright page. So we were fortunate, our book coach actually does copyright pages, so she kind of helped us in getting that together, and that was like a part of our coaching services. So she helped us to get our copyright page and all of that together, and then we were able to self-publish. And there's so many different websites that you could do that through. There's the Book Patch, there's Amazon, whatever works for you and what you're trying to do, you can go through and get your book published. So I'll turn it over to Rebekah to talk about the last two of writing a book as a business.
Yeah, and I saw Danielle smile when you mentioned Lindsay B. Garvin, because I know she does a lot of your photography as well. In fact, she was at the brunch that I attended in 2019. So yes, Lindsay is an amazing photographer and somebody who we felt very blessed to be able to support. And she, of course, did not disappoint. So we also creating a website, which, you know, I know a lot of you are professional women on here, so you likely already have a website, but for those of you who might be interested in learning more, there's a plethora of different hosting sites out there. There's Wix, Squarespace, WordPress. So really just taking a deep dive and finding what provider might work best for you and your book or whatever your message that you're looking to launch into the world. And then also many times, you know, we come up with, or if you have a graphic designer who is designing your book cover or your logo or whatever you are going to use, really having that brand guide in mind. And so when you're reviewing the aesthetics, you're thinking about your target audience and what's going to resonate with them. And like Briana said, like we were very intentional with the image that we use with the butterfly, because that obviously highlights transformation. And this book is all about transformations. The colors that we use, we want it to be warm and welcoming, but also eye-catching with like the marble in the background. So just a few things that we were very intentional about, and then replicating that on our website as well, so that it was aesthetically pleasing as well. And then get paid. Again, we're all professional women in here. We do this to create impact, but also to possibly create another stream of income, which there's like no greater feeling than getting paid within your purpose, right? And so we got a chance to experience that with our EIN number from the LLC. We set up a business banking account. There again are a myriad of different options out there. We ended up going with Chase Bank. And we're in 2 different states, and they worked with us, and we were able to get on one accord and on the same page. And once we had our business banking account, we determined which types of payment methods we would receive payment in. So there's PayPal, Venmo, I mean, there's Shopify, there's so many different options out there, especially now in this digital world, but that is very important in making sure you set up that system and that structure, as you all know, so that you can receive your coin and be rewarded for all of the great work that you diligently produced. Collaboration is the key to success. So that's one of the photos that Lindsay took, and we were right outside of Carnegie Mellon. And so, yeah, we learned a lot about collaborating. And there's this African proverb that I love: if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And we really learned what it meant to go far together, 2 being better than 1. Because if one falls, if one is uninspired, if one is tired, if one is like, I'm over this, the other one can really lift them up, and you all can make greater impact together. So I will say personally, you know, I struggled for a long time really in launching into my dreams and launching into and pursuing purpose. So being able to come alongside Briana for this initial project really gave me a lot of confidence. She was able to remind me, like, sis, we got this, we're gonna do it. We were called for this. We could encourage one another. We were praying together, fasting together. We started meeting, like we created our meeting time, and we're doing that consistently together. And so this project would not be where it is today if I did not have her as a partner. And so we really did learn that collaborating is a special ingredient to being successful and really being able to see the project from just an idea all the way through completion.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it is so important just to like have someone too, just to be able to share ideas and different things like that. And as you all saw, like we built an entire team of women to support us. So in addition to the two of us, there were several other women that were helping us along the journey. So definitely that proverb is so true. Like you need other people to really go far. So the next thing that we wanted to cover are just words of affirmations for writers. On our Instagram page, Millennial Transformations, we actually have words of inspiration that are woven throughout the page. We also have several different Instagram lives where we've talked to several of the contributors of the book. So that's there as well. But a couple of the words of affirmations that we have are: something will grow from all that you are going through, and it will be you. I'm not telling you it's going to be easy. I'm telling you it's going to be worth it. And sometimes the fear won't go away, so you will have to do it afraid. And then, have you given your career plans over to God? And life is tough, my darling, but so are you. And so I know we live in a time where words of affirmation and how you think and how you perceive things is so important. So, like the things that you're really speaking out into the atmosphere, it's really important that they are very positive. So, if you do want to write a book, just remembering that you can do it. And even if you're saying, like, I'm an author before you ever write a book, that is absolutely fine. If sometimes you got to fake it until you actually become it. And so there is nothing wrong with calling those things out and saying those different things and speaking positivity over your life. So that is one thing that I would encourage everyone to do, no matter what you're trying to pursue.
Amen. And really, those words of affirmation help us turn that pain, right, into purpose and to see that there is greater impact on the other side of the challenging and difficult things and roads that we've traveled. And yet another prolific author, somebody who we all celebrate, Mama Maya Angelou, says, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. And, she, of course, is one of the greats that we honor here all the time, but especially in Women's History Month. And that is a really profound quote that I know helped to activate us into not bearing that agony anymore, but birthing our stories into the world.
Absolutely. Well, so we have been talking a lot about the book throughout, but really what it is, it's Millennial Transformations, and it's when prayer manifests miracles. And so Rebekah has a copy of the book there, but it is a compilation of 20 short stories, and we cover everything from pregnancy to mental health to marriage to parenting, sexual trauma, financial freedom, blending families, singleness, graduate school, addiction, grief, divorce. We talk about it all because life is not always fun and it's not always fair, but we wanted to tackle those topics and talk about how people overcame those situations and had a brighter future on the other side, even though in the moment it was very painful. And so we have all of those different topics there that are covered in the book. And if you do want to order it, you can order a copy. We still have them available on our website at millennialtransformations.com. So we'll throw that link in the chat for you if you would like to order a copy there. All right, and I'll turn it over to Rebekah to wrap up.
Yeah, so this has been really awesome. And it's actually been some time since Briana and I have been together. So this kind of like revitalized my zeal around millennial transformations and all the great stories that we were able to capture and compile. And we just really want to end this on a high note with a blessing to each and every one of you. There are a total of 12 of us on tonight. And with all that we've been going through in the last year or so, we just want to bless you all and say, may the next few months be a period of beautiful transformation in your lives. May you pull out those stories and really see how your greatest pain will empower you to your deepest purpose. So thanks so much again for having us. We're going to open it up for some Q&A, and we can talk more about the book or anything that might be on your hearts tonight. We will be here. So let's open it up.
Thank you, ladies, so much. Absolutely. If anyone has a question, please jump in. I love all of the great pointers that you guys gave us. It's funny because that affirmation, that's my second time hearing that this week, which is interesting because I had never heard it before. And now I've heard it twice. But if there's anyone that has any questions, we have a couple that came in through email as well. So I'll wait just to see if there's anyone on the call. Do you have a question that you want to go ahead and drop in the chat, or that you want to just open up your mic and go ahead and shout it out to us?
Danielle,
Good evening.
sorry, go ahead.
No, good evening, ladies, and happy Women History Month. It's I got in here late, but excited to see what I was able to see. But I would like to ask, how can I access the recording?
Oh, good question. So we have been recording. If you've been on the other Power Hours, you know that is a challenge for me. So yay to myself. I got it from the very beginning. But we will send it out through an email. Is that, Jasmine, is that correct? Or either post it on the website. We'll be able to send it out that way. Does that work? Email.
Yeah.
Your email.
Okay, that's great. And Danielle, great job on last month's Power Women Empowerment through the app WOVA. I believe I'm pronouncing it correctly. That was an amazing experience. So kudos to you and your
Thank you
team.
so much. I'm so glad that you were able to attend and enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Danielle, my question to you, and thanks Yolanda, was which affirmation did you hear for the second time this week? Because that sounds like some confirmation.
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. It was not the affirmation, the proverb, the one about...
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. That's great. Yeah.
Yes. And I had never heard it before, and it came up in a diversity training that I was in. So yeah, and I agree with that. The affirmations were wonderful. I definitely jotted those down because those are also some great social media contacts for us to share with the ladies that weren't able to join us, and also when we're sharing this video. So I love that. Do you all use affirmations often, the two of you? And anyone on the call, please jump in. Do you use those often?
I know I do, like, especially like when I'm interviewing for a new job, like I gotta hype myself up. So I'll get in the mirror, like, you got this, you're amazing. These are all the things that you've done in your career. Like I list all of these different things out. And then I like also use a lot of scriptures too. So like, I know the plans that I have for you, and like I just go through different things just to remind myself that you really are amazing, because sometimes the world can really beat people up, and sometimes you can be like, okay, maybe I'm not that great, but whatever you have to do, I know I definitely use them, and I use them in the mirror and just get as hype as possible.
That's a good description of them, to get yourself hyped up. I should probably do that more. And it definitely seems like that would be a good tool to turn your pain into purpose.
Absolutely. And especially like when you're going in to like, you know, negotiate your salary or ask for a certain amount of money, like you got to remember why you're asking for that amount. So I just try to like hype myself up as much as possible, and affirmations really do help.
Yeah, and within that professional example, I'm in the middle of a transition right now, and that imposter syndrome is coming up, right? Like, oh, should I really be here? Am I providing enough value? Or somebody going to pull a curtain and say, wait a minute, you don't know what you're doing? And so the affirmations really just help me to remind myself of who I am and whose I am, and that my worth or value does not come from external validation, like it's all from the inside out. So that has been a wonderful way for me to defeat the enemy of imposter syndrome, and to really like focus and start each day with real power and purpose, regardless of how I'm feeling about how things are going with the job in this first 30 days.
Love that. The book title has millennial intentionally in it, right? And I'm wondering, does that focus on age, or is there another focus when you say millennial? Because, you know, now when you say millennial, you think of a generation of people. So what was the focus when it came to millennial?
Yeah, so a lot of the women inside of the book were millennials that shared their stories. I believe almost all of them. There might have been a couple that were like maybe Gen Xers that were in there, but for the most part, the majority of the women that shared stories were millennials. So we just wanted to capture who was inside of the story and who was sharing their story.
Okay, so that's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure I didn't want to make any assumptions. So when you are in this season and millennials are changing what the workforce looks like, changing what the entrepreneurial space looks like, there's sometimes you get millennials get, you know, great acknowledgement for their work they do, and then there's also some criticism of wanting, you know, more flexibility and just changing the workspace that we're used to. There's some good and bad to that, right? So how do you guys approach that and finding your purpose and still moving forward and owning this space? Because I would think older generations might have felt that, you know, these young Black women, this isn't a space that you maybe should be in. So how do you own that space?
For me personally, I think that's where the power has come in my pain, right? And in sharing my story and my testimony and just saying like, yeah, I know millennials get a bad rap that everything was handed to us and we're lazy and we don't know how to have longevity or to have that stick with itness, right? But sharing stories like this of actually like the depth of things that we've gone through and the pain that we've had to endure and some of the hardships that, yeah, we might not be posting on social media. And that was kind of another theme that's throughout the book. We actually titled each chapter with like the username. So it's like, yeah, we might see all of these great highlights on social media and people are doing all of these wonderful things. But meanwhile, in the background, they're going through some pretty heavy stuff. So I think that has helped us just humanize people within our generation. Like, well, just because we might have some of these attributes doesn't mean we're absent any adversity. We've gone through our own hardships and we've had to navigate them in various ways. So I think humanizing it has definitely helped to just bring greater awareness and kind of like dimensionalize the definition around who millennials truly are, way more than just our social media profiles, right? We go through real things in life, we've had to overcome, and we are showing up and owning the spaces that we've been called to.
Amen.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. And I mean, truly, the human connection piece is so big because everybody has stories, everybody has pain, everybody has things that they've gone through. All the generations at some point got a bad rap. Millennials get it bad because people think that they're entitled, but they also experienced a lot, an economic crash when a lot of them were graduating from college and trying to get jobs and all of these different things, or all of these different experiences. And so really for us, it was just so important to highlight some of these stories because it's not just what you see in a news article. There are so many people with some deep things that they're going through and deep things that they're experiencing that not everybody gets a chance to be able to share it with the world, but we wanted to at least highlight some people so that they would get an opportunity to share their side of the story.
Amen.
That's awesome. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone this evening?
No, I just want to thank the ladies for even sharing that because it's your generation that motivated me to remind me that I'm not too old. So I just thank you all for how you are intentional about showing up in your space. I mean, thank you for the motivation and encouragement. I mean, all of you ladies are just awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Well, one to know one. So clearly
Yes.
you're awesome as well. And thank you, Yolanda. I was going to just ask if maybe after the presentation, after we kind of talked a little bit more about some of the topics that were covered, going back to the icebreaker, if there are any topics or any stories or any themes that may have come up during the conversation or during the presentation rather, that you all might want to explore a little bit more from your lives.
And just keeping in mind, everybody has something to share and something to contribute. And no matter where you are, what stage or what age you are in your life, you're not too young, you're not too old, you're not too anything to actually say something and speak up. And so many times we are afraid to actually share because we're like, no one's going to ever pay attention, or no one's going to look at it, no one's going to read it, no one's going to care. But you would be surprised how many people actually need to hear from you, and how many people's lives will be changed just by you saying yes to your purpose.
Amen.
If no one has anything to share, I do have something I would like to share, and I just find it so timely for this evening. So Danielle, if I have your permission.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear it.
Okay, so this was today's devotional, and I received this book as a gift today in the mail. And I was so surprised by it. But this devotional is awesome, and it's about commanding your morning daily devotional by Cindy Trim. And it says, daydream about possibilities. The Lord will work out his plans for our life, for your faithful love. Oh Lord, it endures forever. Don't abandon me, but for you made me. Psalms 138, verse 8. You must take the time to consider carefully the course of your life. Where are you heading? What will it look like when you get there? Let your imagination take over. Spend time daydreaming about where you want to be in life. Read about it. Study that place. Write about it in your journal. Draw it, paint it. Let your mind run free with the possibilities of what you can attain, what you can be, what you can accomplish. Transform your imagination into intentions. Act intentionally rather than react unconsciously. Now talk about it. Line up your mouth, the rudder of your life, with where you are going. Then keep it steady and on course. Nothing is impossible with God. Therefore, I will not limit what he can do through me. I free my mind and heart to dream. I call forth those dreams the Holy Spirit placed in my heart long ago, dreams I buried because of fear or unbelief. I command them to wake up. Father, our heart is open to receive your desires for us. We only want to do your will. Amen.
I received that. I know. Amen. Yes.
Right. That was good.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we got
Thank you so much for sharing. That was like the best way to wrap it up. I'm gonna start putting Yolanda on the agenda. That was perfect.
the benediction.
Yeah. Yes, that was perfect. Well, thank you for everyone that is here tonight. Thank you so much to Rebekah and Briana for being with us. I'm so excited that you guys not only took the charge, but were so flexible. We've been talking about this for months, and I'm just so happy for not only to see your publication and how well it's doing, but for you guys to come here with us today and share it. Let's see how great I can be with sharing my screen again, right? No, maybe screen 2. Can you guys see PWN there?
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, I just wanted to share this beautiful picture just one more time. I have to, because I love it. And now that I know that Lindsay took it, I love it more. So thank you all. And also something that I did not share with Briana and Rebekah is that in light of Women's History Month and the great conversation that I knew that we were going to have, everyone on tonight's call will receive a copy of your book, thanks to PWN. So we will send that out to everyone that's on the call, and as well as to PWN members will receive a copy of your book. So you ladies on the call, thanks for hanging in there with us. And you'll be getting an email so that you can fill out your contact information and we can get that sent directly to your households. So thank you all so much. And then just to let you know, our next event, Ladies Who Lead, this is our annual event where we recognize women who go above and beyond on behalf of other women. Our registrations have come in, and we have a great list of women that we are getting ready to announce. But on April 22nd, that is the day where we congratulate our finalists. We have Tammy Thompson with Catapult locally here in Pittsburgh. She will be our keynote, so we're excited for that. We encourage you to go and register on our website at prowomensnet.com. It's always a great time. It's just a great space for us to get together. It will be held virtually again, but just as you saw from tonight, we don't let the virtual stop any of our conversations or our connections. We're all in different places and areas. We're in different states right now, but you see how great the conversation is and how the connection is so strong. So we urge you to go to our website and check that out. If you haven't had a chance to join us as a member, we also encourage you to do that. You get all of our emails, you get all of the information that we share. And just like tonight, even if you weren't able to make the call, our members will also get the book. So you would have those perks as well. So that is all I have for tonight. I also have to always thank an amazing team of women. So that was something that I wrote down definitely from the presentation, because we always said in our Facebook posts and in our messages, and that is, who is on your team? And you guys gave us a great illustration of your team that helped you from the very beginning all the way into making the coins come in with your book and with your process. So who is on your team? And I definitely could not do it without an amazing team. Jasmine Julo is on the call. She is with her baby Ava right now, so her camera's off, but she is the chair of our board. So she's been with me in this journey the entire 6 years at this point. So I can't do it without you. And then Risha, I see you on the call. She's also moving and shaking in the background. Risha helps with all of our design and our event production and helps us out with social media. It's just a great team that have just really helped this organization soar. Two of our ladies who aren't able to be with us today, Erica Grayson, she's getting ready to pop a new baby girl into the PWN world. And then we have Ashley Coleman, who is also on my team. So thank you, ladies, so much. And thank you all who were with us tonight. I look forward to the next opportunity, and stay connected. We love you all. Stay safe. Rebekah and Briana, thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
So much for having us.
Our honor and privilege. Thanks, Danielle. And thanks for that grand gesture of the books too. Really excited for you all to have them in your hands and get a chance to read all the great stories. So thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, ladies, have a good evening, and then have an even better tomorrow.
Thank you.
Night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.